Hare Krishna, dear devotees, so good to see you on the call today. Starting with Jaya Mataji, and then Ishwari Radha-devi Dasi, Suruchi Mataji, Suyash Prabhu, Priyanka Mataji, who is joining us on audio here, who's connecting with the audio. And I have on Facebook, I have Dilip Bhai Patel Prabhu, as usual, he takes the first part always. And I have Namazia Mataji, Rajiv Bansal Prabhu, and Avidya Vadu Devi Dasi. Hare Krishna, Dandrat Pranams to all of you. So should we get started with the morning ritual of reading from the Vigyapati Panchaka prayers? If you can unmute yourself and tell me if it's a good idea or not.
Yes, Jai.
Yes, Mataji,
Right,
Jai.
yeah, okay. And I see Garima Mataji also joining us here. Fantastic. And then there is a message from Soni Mataji for all of you, and I think that's to do with the reading order today. And that is something that Suyash Prabhu does for me every day. So I'm very thankful for that. And if somebody can confirm that they can see the Vigyapti Panchika prayers here.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Matsamo nasti papatma na parati cha kaschana parihare pilajjame kim bhruve purushottama yuvatinam yatha yuni yunam chau yuvato iratha मनोभिरमते तद्वन् मनो मे रमतां त्वयि भूमौ स्खलितपादानां भूमिरेवावलम्बनं त्वयि जातापराधानां त्वमेवा शरणं गोविन्दा वल्लभे राधे प्रार्थये त्वामहं सदा त्वदीयम् इति जानातु गोविन्दो मां त्वया सह राधे वृन्दावनाधीशे करुणामृतवाहिनी कृपया निजपादाब्जा दास्यं मह्यं प्रदीयताम्. Okay, so Yush Prabhu, if you can give us the reading order.
Yes, Mataji. Jaya Mataji, Ishwari Radhika Mataji, Priyanka Mataji, Sutapa Mataji, Deepal Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Suyash, Garima Mataji, Shraddha Mataji.
Okay, so then we'll start with Jaya Mataji then, Prabhu. Jaya Mataji, we can unmute and read the translation of one verse.
From O Purushottama?
Yes, yeah, all the way till here.
Okay. O Purushottama, no sinner or offender is as bad as I am. How can I describe my shame? Just as the mind of young ladies take pleasure in a young man, and the mind of young men take pleasure in a young woman. Kindly let my mind take pleasure in you alone.
Just as the ground is the only support for those whose feet have slipped, you alone are the only shelter for those who have offended you.
O Srimati Radharani, beloved of Lord Govinda, this is my request. May you and Lord Govinda consider me one of your assistants.
O Srimati Radharani, O Queen of Vrindavan, you are the river flowing with the nectar of mercy. Please be kind to me and give me a little service at your lotus feet.
Hari Bol. Okay, reflections from those of you who are on Zoom and those who have joined us on Facebook. Mukesh Oja Prabhu has joined us, and so has Achyuta Radhe Mataji. Please post your reflections there, and those who are here can always.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. Jai
Hare
Shri
Krishna, Varshana Mataji, good to see you. Danvat Pranam, Jai Prabhupada.
Prarthaye tvamaham sada.
Prarthaye tvamaham sadha. Yes, sada.
Dasyam mayam pradiyate.
Dasyam mayam pradiyatam, right? So you're looking for what there?
Service at
Service.
the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani.
Radharani, yes.
You alone are the only
Okay, Bhuma iskaluta padanam, Bhumi Vevalambanam means that if I fall down, just as I fall down, the earth only is there to support me, even if I fall down against earth, because I'm standing on her. Similarly, we are all being supported by Krishna. Right? 15th chapter of Bhagavad-gita says, Gam avishya cha bhutani dharayam aham ojasa. So with my hand, I'm holding all these planetary systems. Yeah, so we are being held by Krishna at every turn of our life. Good. And I think Garima was trying to say something.
You alone are the only shelter for those who have offended you.
You alone are the only shelter. Yes, which is Bhumai Skalita Padanam. It's the same mood. Yes, very, very much. And Karunamrita Vahini is what Shraddha-devi Dasi is telling us in Facebook. And Achita Radha says, you alone are the only shelter. So we are going big on shelter today, isn't it?
Yes, Mataji.
So Yash Prabhu, go ahead first. I heard you first.
Matsamo nasti papatma. I'm the most thinnest and most.
Colin, yeah. Okay. That's a good mood to start the day. It'll keep us humble for the rest of the day.
I was also saying, Mataji, Matsamona asti papatma na paradija kaschana.
Parihare.
Parihare vilajame kim purushe brahma.
Kim Bhave Purushottama. Very good. Okay, yeah, you're nailing it down. Very good. Yes, we just worship these verses. We don't try to attack them. We don't try to say, I have conquered you and I have memorized you, right? They will come. You just bow down to these verses, they will automatically come to you, right? Okay, anything else?
Govindo Mama Tvaya Saha. Please
Ah,
consider
Khyati
me as
Mataji.
one of your assistant.
Yes, yes, very good.
Tvamevam Sharanam Prabhu.
Tvamevam Sharanam Prabhu. Awesome. Yes, yes. Isn't that a good place? Shelter in place. Yes, take shelter of Krishna. That's the best shelter. What else? Karunamrita Vahani. I get one more. Okay. From the Facebook. Anything else before we go to our favorite chapter, chapter 2 of Bhagavad-gita? Okay, Suyash Prabhu, are you in a position to share today?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Give me a moment.
I will give you, and I also wanted to use this time to welcome others that I might not have called out. So let's go through my list here. So I see Neeral and Khyati Mataji joined after that. And then I also see Preeti Radhika Mataji, and I also see Deepal Mataji here. Fantastic. Yeah. So
Can
we
you,
are 12 again here today. And then, of course, there are 2 sometimes on a call. So we might be 14 here.
can you share, allow me to share screen, Mataji?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Just when I thought I was completely ready today. And I didn't miss and I didn't call Achyuta Radhe as Atulya today. So I was patting my back and saying, I'm doing good. And then I fumble here. So this is what it is. Subtly it comes to your mind that you're fantastic. Okay. Do you want to give us the reading order one more time, Prabhu?
Yes. So the new reading order is Jaya Mataji, Ishwari Radhika Mataji, Priyanka Mataji, Sutapa Mataji, Deepal Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Suyash, Garima Mataji, Niral Prabhu, Khyati Mataji, Priti Radhika Mataji, Shraddha Mataji.
All righty. Let's get going.
Okay. So I'll start text 1 here.
Just hold on. We will continue with the reading order from where we left in the Vigyapti Panchika prayers. So who read the last verse from Vigyapti Panchika?
Me, Mataji, it will be Dipal Mataji's turn.
Okay, it'll be Deepal's turn. All right, yeah. And it is in the chat window. The reading order is in the chat window, so you can always refer to that. All right, Deepal Mataji, please give us 2 verses.
Okay. Contents of the Gita summarized. Text 1. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana Krishna spoke the following words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy.
Text 3. O son of Pratha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? Hare Krishna.
It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live, yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
Please.
Garima Mataji?
I think Garima Mataji is still on mute.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if she's able to read. We can read.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure. because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven.
Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief stricken Arjuna.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. O son of Kunti, the non permanent appearance of happiness and distress and the disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress is steady in both, is certainly eligible for liberation. Those who are seer of truth have concluded that of the non existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both.
That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata.
Text 19. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge, for the self slays not nor is slain. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain.
O Partha, how can a person who knows that soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. The individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burnt nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same.
Hare Krishna. 25. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life are always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament. Almighty armed. Hare Krishna.
One who knows, one who take, who one who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So, what need is there for lamentation?
Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe, some hate him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Text 30, O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being.
O, Pa- O Partha, happy.
31st.
Some, sorry.
30.
Considering your specific duty as Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas uh, to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors to of the heavenly planets.
Text 33. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties, and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death.
The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you?
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sins. Hari Bol. 14, please, today. Thank you. Whose turn is it to read?
Is it me? I
Yeah.
have little difficulty reading the Sanskrit.
Sanskrit, okay. You want somebody else? Do you want to switch with the next person?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Who
Hare
comes up?
Krishna.
Okay, Ishwari Radha, please give us the Sanskrit.
Matra sparsastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkada agama paino anityas tamastitikshava bharata.
Very good. Okay. Next person. Jaya, are you comfortable doing
Yeah.
the synonyms? Are you comfortable doing the synonyms, or should somebody
Yeah, I'll try doing that.
try? Okay, yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah.
Matra sparsa, sensory perception. Two only. Kunteya, son of Kunti. Sita, winter. Usna, summer. Sukh, happiness. Dukh, the pain. Da, giving. Agma, appearing. Apiyana, disappearing. Anitya, non-permanent. Tan, all of them. Titiksasva, just try to tolerate. Bharata, O descendant of Bharata dynasty.
Translation: O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
But in the proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate non-permanent appearance and disappearance of happiness and distress. According to Vedic injunction, one has to take his bath early in the morning, even during the month of Magha, January and February. It is very cold at the time, but in spite of that, a man who abides by the religious principles does not hesitate to take his bath. Similarly, a woman does not hesitate to cook in the kitchen in the months of May and June, the hottest part of the summer season. One has to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. Similarly, to fight in the religious principles of the Kshatriyas, and although one has to fight with some friend or relative, one should not deviate from his prescribed duty. Next person can read.
One has to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of One has to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of religious principles in order to rise up to the platform of knowledge, because by knowledge and devotion only can one liberate himself from the clutches of Maya. The two different names of address given to Arjuna are also significant. To address him as Kaunteya signifies his great blood relations from his mother's side, and to address him as Bharata signifies his greatness from his father's side. From both the sides, he is supposed to have a great heritage. A great heritage brings responsibility in the matter of proper discharge of duties. Therefore, he cannot avoid fighting.
Haribol. Okay, so time to do reflection.
Happiness and distress are non-permanent. Good
Ah.
news, bad news.
Good news, bad news. Yes. It's actually all good news. Yeah.
So now we cannot talk about weather, right? We have to learn to tolerate it.
Well, you can
But
talk
we
about
can't
what you're tolerating.
Yeah, we can't complain about weather. Whatever is there is for a reason.
Yeah, and isn't it very interesting that that Krishna is giving about he's giving about contrasting, right? Two extremes he's talking about. So Sitoshna, Sukha, Dukha, right? The dualities he's talking about. And so he could have talked about pleasure, pain. He could have talked about those things as well. But he talks about winter and summer, right? Like the seasons, he's talking about that. And apart from the fact that, of course, that's something which is very cyclical in our life, right? Comes and goes, so you can relate to that. But also imagine that where is this conversation happening?
Battlefield.
A battlefield of
Kurukshetra.
Kurukshetra. Where is Kurukshetra in India? North, south, east,
Haryana.
west.
North.
North.
Mataji, I grew up in Kurukshetra.
There you go. We should take the dust from your lotus feet and put it on the forehead. Yeah. So yes. So then good. Then Priyanka can tell us how cold is it in December in Kurukshetra?
Yeah, it is like Delhi, very cold in winters and very hot in summer.
Right. So this battle of Mahabharata is happening in the very cold season. Right. So he'll be able to relate. So Arjuna will be able to relate to it very quickly when he says Shitoshna. So, oh yeah, I know every day in the night. Oh, in the morning it's very cold. And then what does Purport tell us in the Purport? About these two extremes?
That
That
one
when
should
Tolerate.
You should tolerate. Okay. Ishwari Radha,
they're temporary.
they are temporary. Good. And Ishwari Radha was trying to say something. Let her speak. Yeah.
So
Okay.
Prabhupada was saying, Prabhupada was saying that how one should still get up early in the morning and take his bath. And in the summer, when it's really hot, the women should still go in the kitchen and cook.
Yeah. So
It's
he's
not
not
that you-
saying, yeah. I will be slightly, I like to rephrase it a little bit. And so let's bring up that and see what exactly is Prabhupada saying. And we'll have to lean on Suyash Prabhu for that. Okay, what is he saying?
Similarly, a woman.
One has to execute the duties in spite of climatic inconvenience.
Yes, but give me the exact words, because we're reading Shastra scrutinizingly. We are very careful of what Prabhupada is saying. And before we quote it like that, yeah. So that verse that you were highlighting, Suresh Prabhu, give that again, please. According to Vedic injunction, one has to take his bath early in the morning, even during the month of March, January, and February, right? The sentence before that. And so that's a Vedic injunction. right? So Vedas are telling you that you should do that. It's very, very, there's no argument or that. It's a order that you should do that. You don't do it, that's a different thing, but you should do that is what the Vedas is telling. But then what is Prabhupada saying? It's very cold at that time. But in spite of that, a man who abides by the religious principles does not hesitate to take his bath. And then what does he say about women? Can somebody read?
A woman does not hesitate to cook in the kitchen in the months of May and June,
Yeah.
the hottest part.
Right, right. So Prabhupada is saying that she does not hesitate, right? He's not saying that women should. I just wanted to be very clear before all the women watching us on Facebook come after me and say, Shraddha-devi Dasi, what are you teaching? Am I supposed to cook in the summer season, right? So just read it very because then it gets quoted that Prabhupada is saying it. And then it'll be like, oh, is Prabhupada anti-women? And you can see that Prabhupada was certainly not anti-women. He bent so many rules to accommodate us, right? Women like that, right? You see, there are women temple presidents, there are women priests in ISKCON, there are women books distributor leaders and all that, right? So women are very much there in vogue in Prabhupada's things. Okay, good. We can stop sharing and then get back to our reflections. So I was saying that since he's there in that ambience, it's cold weather outside, so it'll be easy for him to understand and relate to the fact that, yeah, if there's an injunction, then I do follow
So
that.
Mataji, in a way, Krishna is asking us to give up our senses, like our ideas of controlling things, right? We always try to control things. I need comfortable weather. I need comfortable chair. I need comfortable car. We always want to control it in some way, right? How minor it is, like from weather, which our senses feel, to mind, happiness, and distress. What is our idea of right and wrong?
Very nice, because mind is the manashasthani indriyani. Mind is also a sense.
Sense.
It's a sixth sense, right? So what is senses called in Sanskrit?
Indriya.
Indriyan.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts?
Mataji, I have a question related to that actually.
Okay. Go ahead.
So when I work in the office, like we have very cold temperature within the office, and I always put like my small desk heater. And when I read Bhagavad-gita, I always remind, am I like trying to control my environment and not tolerate what is there? But otherwise my hands like really get frozen. So
Yeah. So you see, you can tolerate only to a certain extent, right? Beyond that, if it's hampering in your devotional service and if it's hampering in the work that you're supposed to do, right? Then you have to make adjustments. He's not saying that, tolerate it to the end that you leave the body
we'll see.
like that. So it's always a balance, right? He will talk later in Bhagavad Gita about balance, right?
Yeah.
Balance eating, balance sleeping, yukta ahara viharasya, yukta sapnasya bodhasya, sleep, in a balanced manner like that. Yeah. Yes, everybody has got a different constitution. Like when I came to America, I was shocked because I used to feel so cold. Now, over 25 years, I have changed a little bit, but not much because everybody is actually designed for the place where you are born. And when we take flights and cross oceans and go start living in some other place, we bound to have some, problems in the body. And so I used to be horrified that I would go to offices, to board meetings, not board meetings, but to meetings in the boardroom, and then I would be feeling very cold, and I would want to put on a sweater, but it was not the norm. I think your company is being very good to you that it allows you to put a heater where they are doing air conditioning. Because in my office, somebody from the IT or whatever department would come and scold me and ask me to switch off this heater. They'll say, we are trying to cool things out and you're heating it from your room. So anyway, so we had to suffer that. I had to suffer that. And but I used to see that, other people sitting in the room have got a glass full of ice. And they're sipping at that ice and in a sleeveless shirt, like half sleeve shirts. Like, oh yeah. But you have, Krishna is saying that you tolerate.
Mataji, I have a question
Yes.
about this taking shower early in the morning for us nowadays. I mean, I've heard before that chanting is most important. So when you get up, you should brush your teeth, wash your face, wash your hands and feet, and sit down and start chanting right away.
There you go. Yes. So we said it was a Vedic injunction, since it's coming from the Vedas. And but what is the rule from the Vedas for what's the rule for from the Bhagavatam? What is the rule for Kali Yuga? Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare
Hare
Nama.
Hare Nama Kevalam.
Right, that's from Padma Purana, but it gets repeated in purports, etc. And Kale Dosh Nidhi Rajan, this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Where Parikshit Maharaj, to Parikshit Maharaj, Sukdev Goswami is saying that in Kali Yuga there is all bad things, but there is only one good thing, and that is that just by chanting the holy names of the Lord, you will go. And Padma Purana gives the injunction that Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Kevalam, Kalau, Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Gatiranyatha. So those kinds, and that is why you need Acharya. Because if we just pick up the Vedas and read that, and then start to try taking shower early in the morning with cold water, it'll be bad. I tried doing that. I used to take bath shower with the extreme cold water, extreme cold, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning in December. I used to do that here. And I can tell you that it's a very good feeling. It's a very good feeling. And it lasted for 3 weeks. And after that, I had such a horrible cold. I was on the bed for 15 days. It did not go. So after that, I said, no, your body is not geared up to do that, right? Because while I was in the bed, what was I doing? Could not sit up and chant, could not offer food. I was very, very sick like that. So I said, okay, don't attempt. You're not made up for that.
Also, Mataji, I remember as a child when we were growing up, the water used in the taps was coming from tube well in our houses. So in the morning during cold weather, water is relatively warmer than the outside temperature, and same way it's colder in the summer.
Yes.
So I mean, when we used to take bath with that cold water, actually it was warmer than so you feel fresh and you don't fall sick. But this water is coming from the tanks and it's really freezing cold, and so it's not advisable to take cold shower.
Yes, I can't agree with you more. Yeah. So
And
see how
also-
nature arranges things for us so very nicely, right? But we mess up with nature.
Even with Mataji, river, it's the same case. All the natural water would be warmer when it is colder. So I guess that's how Krishna has arranged things for us, and we made it other way around.
Yeah. The more you mess up with nature, the more you sink deeper.
And also,
Hare
like
Krishna,
when you, sorry, go ahead.
No, please, Jia, ask the question.
So I was just saying, also when you start enjoying the things, you forget about the pain that is coming along. I remember my mom cooking while she's also in extreme heat when she is to feed us, when she's like also sweating, and it's so difficult in India. It's really extreme heat. So yeah, it's the enjoyment when you are so lost in the things that you do, you don't feel the pain.
You don't feel the pain, and it's the driving force over there is the love for the kids, and the good thing is that we have the loving tendency, and we do it for our kids without thinking about it, right? We'll get up in the night, we'll if the kid has got to go for some practice, like if the kid is learning how to swim. My daughter had a friend who was trying for Olympics for swimming. And so she used to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and leave and then go practice swimming and then come to school, because school started at 7:30. So that was the only time. And I was like, wow, she's lucky she gets up at Brahma Muhurta, but let's see what she does. but what I was saying was that, of course, her mom had to get up as well, right? And it's a difficult thing to do that. But you do it because of love. And so that is why we say that, once you achieve love for Krishna, you would like to do those things effortlessly. So when you're starting to cook for Krishna, when it is heat, like, on Janmashtami, they are cooking a feast in the temple for people who are coming. And all those people who are cooking, they are fasting. So they're not even drinking water. And so the tendency is that if I'm not drinking water, the tendency is for me is to preserve my water. But I'm standing in front of the fire and water is coming out of my body because of the perspiration that is happening. But you're doing it for the love of Krishna. So that is very important. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. for reciting Gayatri, I came to know that we have to take bath, whatever may happen.
Yes, yes. But Gayatri, you don't chant Gayatri at 4 o'clock in the morning,
4
right?
o'clock, and that
Yeah.
is 6 o'clock. Yeah.
Right? You will do that at 6 or before sun rises, during the Suryodaya time, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
A Brahmana takes takes bath 3 times a day.
3 times a day.
Yeah. Sutapa.
Yes, Mataji, that word, that great heritage, because Arjuna's blood is from both sides, from mother side and father side, is like the royal blood, what you can say. So, if you are coming from that royal family or very good family, so you must remember the duties, what you have to do. So you have to get rid of the classes of Maya and go on with your
Yes, yes.
duty.
Right. Yes. So what are the 2 names he uses for Arjuna? And so here is material for you, Varshana Mataji, for your document. What are the 2 names for Arjuna?
One is
Kvanteya.
Bharata.
Kunteya and Bharata.
Very good, Deepal. Kaunteya and Bharata. So you see, in the Shastras, words are not used just like that. We don't do things just like that. We don't use a word just like that. Every word is measured and balanced. And Radhika Raman Prabhu, who is from the University of Utah, he comes, once a year to deliver lectures to us here at ISV. And he was saying that there's a lot of effort that goes into writing these Sanskrit verses. And there's so much of balance. There's so many rules and etc. there. Writing poetry in Sanskrit is not easy, right? So the choice of words that are being used, and of course Krishna is speaking them, so Krishna never does anything uselessly. So by just addressing Arjuna by these 2 names, he's pointing out certain things by saying that you are Bharata, that you are coming from that lineage of the kings. And we know that, it starts with Shantanu. The Shantanu went through, problems in his life. What were some of the problems that Shantanu went through? There were ups and downs in his life, right?
He married Ganga but had to give up the kids that were born of her.
Right. And then what happens when he speaks up, when he opens his mouth, what happens?
He leaves.
She leaves
Ganga
with her
leaves.
son.
With
Her son.
with her son, isn't it? So you can imagine what he's going through, right? He's a king. Of all the things, he needs a son. Okay. And then what happens?
He wants to get married. He gets, he gets attracted by Satyavati and wants to get married to her. Goes to her father and he refuses because he says that suppose your son comes and takes over. And then Bhishma, he says that I will never get married. And he was a brahmachari throughout. And you mentioned the other day.
Hold on. Okay. So point out the problems that he faced in few sentences. First problem, what he faced, right?
Separation.
Separation, right?
Separation.
Yeah, that is done. Separation from child and wife. Second one, Varshana, precise. Yeah, what was the problem he faced? Like, falls in love with a woman and her father does not allow, right?
Yeah.
That is the distress that he feels. Then going precise on your second part was that the son says he will not marry, right? That's also a grief, right? That's also a grief for him. So two major griefs is going on. And you can imagine, like, there could be so many people who would be saying bad things about him, isn't it? That just because he wanted to get married to a woman, see what you're doing to your only son. Right?
But Mataji, in a way, like when Bhishma Dev took that pratika, he should have evaluated the mindset of Satyavati also, right? Like sometime the people who have the power has to realize the boon that they are giving. Do they really deserve it or not, right? Because Satyavati's kids, Vichitra Virya, how they turned out to be. So it's like every action has its reaction.
Exactly. Exactly. And then we also have got to remember that in those were the days when a son was very obedient to the father, right? And they would do anything for their father. So he's saying, so his compassion overcame him, right? At the time, his compassion for his father overcame. And this Bhagavad Gita is all about that. And we see Arjuna also following that same path, right? After all, an apple doesn't fall very far. They're from the same family. And Arjuna is all overwhelmed with compassion. And he's saying how can I kill them? How can I do this? How can I do that? So, yes. The only thing is that hindsight is 20/20. We don't know in the future. Only after things have gone, we can sit, we can analyze that, if he had done this, if he had done that. At that time, he's just a young boy. And he's still seeing his father, because his father was very, very unhappy. He used to sit there, not eat food, and everybody's worried what has happened to the king. And
But
then
that is why Prabhupada brings it up in this, right? If you are born with the family who has the entitlement, it is
yes,
your responsibility, right? So
exactly.
Prabhupada
Yes.
talks about
It
that.
talks about that, yes, but then you are governed by the etiquette also, right?
Hmm,
There's
that's true.
etiquette, yeah. So that's the balance. That's a balance. We are living, see, living in an environment. We are living in Kali Yuga. So here it is different. Here the kids tell us what to do, right? Or we can tell our elders, we can tell our boss, the way, because the kids will always know more than us, because it's a world of, it's the yuga of machinery, technology. Kali Yuga means that, right? So they'll always know that. So the bosses are tuned. Like when I was growing up, there was no concept of having a boss who was younger than you in age. There was no way that they had that kind of a knowledge for the kind of things that we did, right? But now things have changed, equations have changed. I have reported to people who are 10, 12 years younger than me, 18 years younger than I, and they were definitely much better in the technology field on that, right? So yes, yeah. So that's what I'm saying, that hindsight is 2020. Like, looking at that from the Kaluga perspective, yeah, you should have spoken up. But over there, we don't speak against our father. And we see so many times in history that if you speak, that if they had only spoken against their parents, right, something else would have happened, something better would have happened. So yeah. And so Prabhupada is talking to Prabhupada is writing this in Kali Yuga, right? So that's why he's bringing these things up. Yeah, it is a responsibility. Yes, I mean, you have to see that Shantanu should have had the biggest responsibility, right? He's the king, and there would be so many women more beautiful than Satyavati who would have been available to get married to him, right? He did not do that. That's what the heart does. That's what the mind does to you, right? It'll make you throw all reasoning out of the window. Okay, so there were problems with, so there are a lot of that coming from that family of Bharatas, right? So coming from that Bharatvanshi, you see that people in that his ancestors, Arjuna's ancestors, have also suffered, right? Highs and lows have come in their lives also, from the father's side. And then look at the mother's side. Can somebody tell me what were the things that Kunti Maharani suffered?
She gave birth to Karna before marriage.
Yeah, look at the start, right? Look at the start. Otherwise, and she was such a fantastic person, right? She served Durvasa Muni, of all the Muni. She served Durvasa Muni, and she was able to please him. Come on, able to please Durvasa Muni. It's a big thing. He just gets annoyed at the smallest, thing. There, he's always testing you, and Durvasa was happy with her. And then, of course, she has a child out of wedlock. So that's a big thing. Then what happens?
She raises the kids on her own, like after.
Yeah, husband dies.
Single mom, husband dies, right?
And they, like, Pandavas were burnt in the, or at least attempt to burnt in the Varnavrat, right? So they give up the kingdom and goes to forest.
Right. And does she go?
Yes, with them.
Yes.
Yeah, once she
Yeah, she
goes,
was
right?
with.
Yeah, yeah. And then, you can imagine how much she has tolerated in her life. She gets married, and soon after the marriage, I think very, very soon, her husband gets called away for a war, and he goes to fight. He's a Kshatriya, he goes to fight, and then when on his way back, he defeats, and then the king gives his daughter to him. And so even before she has spent good enough time with her husband, she gets a co-wife, Madri, right? It was very beautiful. And then when they are in the forest and her husband is supposed to not come close to a woman, he goes closer to the second wife. And because of the second wife, the husband dies, right? Because he had a curse that if he goes close to a woman, he will die. So because of that, he dies. And then um, the second wife says, I'm going to go with my husband.
Yeah.
Kunti is left behind. And like, who said that she had to take care of the children?
Deepal Bhabhi.
Deepal Bhavi said, right? So your Bhavi, sorry, she's like a kid to me. So not only do you have to take care of your own kids, you have to take care of the kids of the woman who was responsible for your husband dying. So it's not an easy thing. And to love them and bring them as your own, like that. So she went through all that. So that's what Krishna is saying.
How many children Madhuri had?
2.
What are the names?
Nakul and Sahadev.
Nakul and Sahadev.
Okay, Nakul and Sahadev.
Right? And what are the names of the other 3?
Yudhishthir,
Yudhishthir, Arjuna, and Bhima.
Right. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah. So yes, there were problems there, and there were problems. That's why he's using the name. He's saying that, Kaunteya, Bharata, telling that they have done it. You can also do it, right? And again, Kathy, to your point, he's saying you're coming from that lineage. You have that responsibility. See how they did it. You also should do it like that. See how your mom did it.
And Mataji Kunti had to hide this also, that she had a son, Karan was his son. That also was very difficult to
Yes,
hide.
it is difficult to hide, but I'm just thinking that more difficult than that was to come out and say that I have a son. Later on.
Yes, Mataji.
Right?
He
That's
was,
even more difficult. Hiding and all, it's fine.
Yeah, but you cannot accept.
Yeah.
You're seeing your son in front of your eyes,
Yes,
but you
yes.
cannot accept her.
Yeah. But then, the shame that gets associated when you have come out and you are like at such a high position, in society. You're the mother of the Pandavas and you have to come out and say that. Right.
Yeah, and even like when Yudhishthir Maharaj was the king of Indraprasth, she couldn't go. She had to stay back in Hastinapur. So even their sons are king, she had to tolerate staying over here.
Yes.
That is also like the biggest difficulty, right? In a way. And that is where she has this conversation with Krishna, that you come and save us all the time when we are in pain. So let this be our life, which is really very profound.
Exactly.
And Mataji, she has also had to go through the pain of losing a son, means who was killed. That pain also was there.
Yes, and that pain comes. Yes, Karna, right?
Yeah.
And who kills Karna?
Arjun.
So one of your sons kills your other son.
Yeah.
And they vowed each other to kill each other, right? So.
Yes, as a mom, you're watching that. Can't help it. Yeah. So they are Shatranis. They are geared up to do all that. They know bloodshed and all that stuff. But it's difficult to understand a fratricidal war, right? When it's happening within your family, it's difficult. It's okay if your son goes and kills other people. Kshatriyas do that. Yeah.
Yeah, as in the morning you said, Mataji, that Kshatriyanis were always ready to send their husbands for the war. They never hesitated.
Yes, and I'm just admiring and appreciating and relishing the power of devotee association. Of course, actually, power of association. That Varshana Mataji just said that earlier in the morning you said this. I mean, where Varshana is sitting, it's evening. She's already in our time zone. She's saying in the morning you said that. Yeah. So you see how it gets affected, how you get affected by the association, right? She's talking and participating in a class which is happening in the morning time zone in America.
So, Mataji, going back to this verse, when Krishna says tolerate happiness and distress or heat and cold, right? What should be our thought when we are in such situation?
Good. So distress is the more difficult thing, right? Happiness is,
Yeah.
and then the question is that why should I tolerate happiness, right? Why should I tolerate that? So one way of looking at it when you get distresses in life is to say that my karmas are getting exhausted. I am the one who did this and it is coming back to me. I don't know what I did. And then tattenukampam susamikshmano bhunjanamevatmakitam vipakam hridvag vidadan namaste jivetayu mukti pade sadaya bhag. So Brahma says that as part of his prayers to Krishna after the Brahma Vimohan Leela episode. Then he says that one who just goes through all these ups and downs, majorly he's talking about downs here in this verse, and just taking it as Krishna, it is your mercy. That because I'm your devotee, you have actually reduced it more for me. I actually deserved less. Tattenukampam, it is your anukampa, it is your compassion, your mercy, your special blessings to me. So when we get into that mood, then it's easy to tolerate these kind of things, these kind of distresses that come into your life. Happiness, sometimes due to happiness also we get so happy that we end up doing stupid things. Like a child gets very happy, starts driving the car very fast, and then has an accident like that, right? So it can happen. So in happiness also we have to stay calm and quiet, like a dhira, neither too happy in the happiness nor too dejected in the situation of unhappiness, like that. And especially when it is happiness, your happiness could also become a choice of rejoicing, because whatever there was in store for you as a karma, because it's more difficult to you know it's more difficult to handle the unknown, right? Like for example, I don't know what's the karma I have to handle tomorrow. I don't know. And that could be a very fearful thing. But if I'm undergoing something over here, if my shoulder is paining here, I might remember that, okay, maybe I must have punched somebody in my previous birth, and now this is unnecessarily, it's paining, like that. So you think like that. And when you see that you are responsible for all that is being doled out to you in the bad realm, then it becomes easier to tolerate it.
Mataji, but that also leads to guilt in some way, right? That, oh, I am.
Vatsamo nasti papatma is
No,
guilt.
that, I mean, I understand, but how to come out of that guilt? Because I don't think so. Guilt also helps you to think.
Karunamrita Vahini. That
Yeah.
if you are there, you will forgive me, right? So this thing of guilt hai, ye kar doge bhagwan naraz ho jayenge, ye kar doge bhagwan naraz. It's a good thing. We have to know our boundaries, right, on of operating. But what if I do something wrong, right? I should not be under so much of fear that there's a god and now lightning is going to fall on you because you didn't chant your rounds properly, like that. So those kind of things should not be there. That is why our philosophy is saying, what's the biggest goal that we are going to get, that we aim for, is love of God. Our religion is based on love. It's not based on a god who punishes, like that. And even if he's punishing me, it's a punishment of the parent, right? Just because your mom punished you, Kathy, when you were young, maybe you might have been naughty once, or I don't know, but I do know that Varshana was very naughty once and her mom punished her nicely. So, but that doesn't mean that you'd hate your mom. You still love them, right? Because you start seeing things that the punishment was given for my own benefit. So when you hear that, like that, so you handle it. And another thing which is very important to note in this particular verse that Krishna is saying is that agam apaniyo, they will come and they will go. So we also have got to remember how to handle happiness, how to handle big things and good things that happen to us. Is always remember they will also go away. So don't think that I've got this superior power and I'm the most beautiful film star and I'm number one on, whatever numberings that they have. It is so amazing. I watched this when I was young. Um, my mom never allowed us to watch more than one movie a year. And that too only after she had scrutinized it and found that, okay, we all can watch, and we would all go together as a family and go and watch them. But then when I became a little bit older and I had my own independence, I used to watch all the movies all the time, all kachra like that, and then follow them also. Who's getting married to whom, who's having an affair with whom, who got this and that. All that kachra was going on in my head, and so but I used to watch. Okay, so it started with Rekha used to be like at my time she used to be my idol. Oh, before that it was Hema Malini. I saw Hema Malini come. She was on the top of everything. And then she was slowly replaced by Rekha. And then when Rekha stepped to the background and Jayaprada and Sridevi came in. And then Sridevi was pushed out by Madhuri. And after that, I lost track because I stopped watching movies again, like that. So, Agam Apaniyo, they come and they go. So, even if you're getting high, fantastic things in your life, they will go away. Youth
And
goes
also,
away.
Mataji, I was thinking that these things are relative too. I mean, the sukh and the dukh is what is sukh for me could be dukh for somebody else, and
Isn't it?
it's
Yes, yes.
truly not a sukh or dukh, actually.
Yes, people feel so sorry. We family members feel so sorry that, why are you getting up at 4 in the morning? I feel so bad for you. And the day that we are able to get up at 4 in the morning, we are very happy that I was able to make it. I could do it like that. Very good point that you brought in here. Like that. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, ma.
Hare Krishna,
Uh,
Preeti.
I was thinking of this prayer on Titikshava tolerance. Is that somebody's praying that, oh Lord, give me strength to change the things I can change, to accept the things I cannot change, and intelligence to distinguish between the two.
To know the
And
difference. Yeah.
yeah, and then I actually did not understand the meaning of tolerance and to apply in my life until very recently. And it's amazing how as you grow older, you start realizing things and concepts and start applying them. And so Titikshava also, but so when I started praying for God, like God give me strength to tolerate Titikshava, Titikshava, I was meditating on that. There's a different kind of strength or inner peace that comes up. It's very hard, like it's not easy to tolerate because it's going against your nature. So, but when I do tolerate the things that I cannot change, then it gives a different kind of inner strength. So, just wanted to share that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a perspective
Yes.
change, complete change of perspective. Yeah. And that is
Yes.
why you see devotees are so very happy. I mean, I remember there was a temple I used to go to here close to where I live. And so whenever somebody would come and tell the priest that I got laid off from work, the priest used to laugh and say, okay, good. Till you find another job, come and do some seva. And they would come and do seva. And they would find a job and then they'll leave and go back there. Yeah. So the
So
perspective is
tolerance
very
is
different.
also a flavor of surrender, Mataji. Is that
Oh,
right?
oh yes, big time. Yeah. When you're surrendering, then only can you tolerate. It helps you.
Right, like Preeti Radhika Mataji was saying that as I started to tolerate, so means basically you surrendered to Krishna's, taking it as his will and
Yeah.
surrendered unto him, then accepted. Okay, I'm gonna go with your wish.
Yeah.
This is so beautiful, Mataji. I never connected it like that. So, thank you for adding that flavor into
Yes.
my
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
Thank
Our
you.
life should be situated on surrender. The moment
Eh,
the moment you are situated on surrender and you're saying that Krishna, this is your will. They give me the strength to do your will. Like we
uh,
ask, we pray, right? We pray to Krishna. I want this. I want that. I want this. I want that. Like somebody's child is very sick, and so the child can die. And so we pray to God. So what's going to happen if you pray to God that make my child well, make my child well, and if the child doesn't get well, what's going to happen? Our relationship with God is going to be spoiled, right? After all, I asked so much and He didn't listen to me, right? On the other hand, the right way of praying is that Lord, please, it is my request that please make my child better, and if you don't will it that way, then give me the strength to handle that. That prayer covers both the sides, of what can happen. And it is surrender to Krishna. You're surrendering to the will. You're not demanding and saying, look here, this is what I want. and you better do this. Yes, we are putting it in a very soft manner, in a polite way to God, but that's what our intention is. I want this, and please give it to me. On the other hand, it's like, okay, no. The real surrender is that, yes, you do whatever is your will. You just give me the strength to handle it. I want to do your will, but I don't have the strength to do
So,
it.
Shraddha Mataji, is there a difference between surrender and detachment?
Is there a relationship between surrender and detachment? Well, if you're surrendered, then detachment will come as a byproduct. For example, it will slowly come. It'll slowly come, but it'll come. For example, if I surrender to the will of Krishna, right, then detachment actually is the opposite of attachment. So what exactly is attachment? Let's address that first. What do you think is attachment, called attachment?
When you feel like it's you possess it.
You possess it. So that is there. So you are attached to something because you possess it, right? Like a
And
kid,
then
a
you
car,
feel emotionally connected to it.
you feel emotionally connected to that, and you are afraid of losing it, right? Now, what is on the other extreme spectrum of attachment?
Renounce.
We are renounced, right? So we're not attached to that, right? So we are attached to people because we like them, and whatever we attach to, we're always thinking about them, right? And on the other extreme, we don't like somebody. Are we attached to them?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes,
True.
you're attached to them, right? Because you're thinking about them also, right?
Yeah.
But then as you surrender to Krishna and you say that, okay, that person who's doing bad things to me is also coming as part of my tattinu kampam, and he could have been worse to me, and now whatever I'm getting like that. And Krishna, this is your will. So then you stop thinking about this one and you stop thinking about this one. On both the ends of the spectrum, you start, thinking too much about it. You don't invest too much of your emotions in either one of them.
Yeah, and I think I brought this up because just few days back I was just talking something related to my work, and I mentioned that it's come with a practice. So when I work on something, I feel very possessive about it, and then comes the pain part. When other don't feel good about it, right? Because I invested so much time and energy and thinking into it, and then I felt like why I'm feeling hurt because I'm attaching too much to the time that I invested into it. So I think it's probably the gradual practice that through gradual practice it comes where you work, you do your karma, but also not attach too much to it. But it
Right.
doesn't happen in a day for
It
sure.
doesn't happen in a day. Yes, it doesn't happen in a day. And we were reading yesterday evening. We had a Bhagavad-gita class at 6. On Tuesdays, we have a Bhagavad-gita class. And there we were talking about yogis and how they reach perfection. And it said after many, many lives. So this perfection carries over. It can take a lot of time to refine. And it also comes from the fact that I think that I am something. Like I am the software engineer, I am the project lead, I am this, I am that, right? So
That's
on the other hand, um, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Trinadapi sunichena taroreva sahashruna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. So you have to be more, humbler than a blade of grass. Having said that, however, we have to sometimes, show our thing also. You have to show it. You cannot just, in an office environment, you just can't be humbler than a blade of glass and let everybody kind of walk over you. When we are saying be humbler than a blade of glass, is that, when our manager is scolding us for something we were not supposed to do, there is still this huge rebellion which is inside us, which doesn't allow us to accept our mistake, right? So you have to apply this tolerance, etc., in that situation. That yes, I made a mistake, like that toilet, or sometimes the manager might be even wrong, but he's at a superior level. And Srimad Bhagavatam says you have to respect the superiors, like which again I was saying, Bhishmita mein, listened to his superior, did things for his superior. So Shastras are telling us to do that. And so I will tell the story about how Narad Muni makes disciples wherever he goes. And so there was a snake who was very bad in a village, and he said that he wanted to become a disciple of Narad Muni. So Narad Muni said, okay, fine, now you should go and do your devotional service, and you have to become a good being. And so the snake just went inside a cave, and he would slightly, so he'd sit down and then he would just pray to the Lord. And then the kids of the village soon figured it out that the snake doesn't do much. So they started pelting him with stones. And if you throw a stone on a snake's body, which doesn't have, much on it, so he started getting very much bruised. But he would not do anything because now he was a disciple of the Lord. And then when Narad Muni comes back there again and he sees his disciple in such a bloody situation, then he says, like, what happened? So he said, well, these kids are throwing stones at me. And so he said, why didn't you do something about it? So he says, but I'm your disciple now, and I'm praying to God, and I'm supposed to be a good person. I don't do that, and I'm not supposed to bite others and poison them with nothing. So Narad Muni said, yeah, you're not supposed to bite them, but who told you not to raise your hood and scare them away? You're not going to bite them, but you can scare them away. You can always do that. So remember, when you're talking about Trinadapi Sunichana, you sometimes have to do this, especially to kids. You are the authority. So where you have authority, you have to speak. Krishna, at the moment Arjuna gave him the authority, Krishna started with Klabhyam Masma Gama Partha. Don't be an impotent. Straight away to a Kshatriya. Right? Ashochian Anavashochasvam Pragyavadam Sabhashate. You're thinking about, what is not to be thought about. You're lamenting for something not to be lamented upon. And you're talking as if you're a Pandita. Look at that. He's telling that to Arjuna, bang in the middle of the army where everybody is looking, what to talk about the demigods who are looking from the top. But sometimes you have to say that, right? So yes, with surrender, tolerance, all these things are, mixed with each other, and doing good in one will also rise the other one.
Mataji, I have a quick, not a quick question, but question. So in this verse, Krishna talks about happiness and distress. So, and again, he talks about it is because of sense perception. So with sense perception, someone's distress can be happiness and someone's happiness can be distress. So when we say distress burns karma, does happiness also, because it is also a sense perception?
Yes, happiness burns karma. And I was telling this story again yesterday evening that you accumulate pious credits, you accumulate good karma, and you accumulate bad karma. And I was saying that those two belong to two different buckets, and you have to exhaust both of them. So bad karma is easy to understand that you have to exhaust it. The good karma, and I gave the example of Nal Kuber and Mani Grieve, who are the sons of Kuber. So imagine how much of good karma they have done to get into such an opulent family, right? Kubera manages the wealth of this universe, right? So yeah, you have a father like that. But what did all that wealth do to them? They were sitting naked with no clothes on and enjoying with not one or two, bunch of women. And then what happens? Narad Muni passes by. And the women at least had some shame. They covered their body with clothes. But these boys, they were intoxicated. They were like, yeah, Narad is going, we don't care. And Narad got angry and cursed them to become trees, like that. So you can see, so too much of good karma, it's better to burn it off. Better to burn it off. And I also gave the example yesterday that there are two sacred rivers are there. One of them is Ganges, and one of them is the Yamuna. And Yamuna is supposed to be on the level of being sacred. Yamuna is a higher level river. And if you go into Ganges, then your sinful activities get washed away. So your sinful karma is washed away. Of course, we start sinning again. So that's a different story. But our sinful karma gets washed away. But if you go to Yamuna, then both your good and your bad karma, both of them are washed away. Like that. So if you're making a smoothie, just give me your address. I'm going to join you. So what I was saying, that so once Prabhupada gives the story that there were a bunch of, there was a guru and there was a bunch of disciples, and they all went into the Yamuna river. And then the guru tells the disciples that, Yamuna river is going to wash off all your good karma and your bad karma also. And half of the disciples quickly jumped out of the Yamuna. I don't want my good karma to get washed away. And that is what it is. Like, we have to focus on the spiritual and not focus on this. This is just, and so one thing that I want to bring up, and if Suyash Prabhu, you can bring the verse in continuation with the point that you made, if you can bring up the words, and I want to focus on the synonyms with which Jaya Mataji read for us today. Okay. So, okay, even before the synonyms, can we go to the translation? Translation, please, now below. And it says in the, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness, distress, and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer season. We understand that. They arise, which is Shitoshno Sukha Dukkha Su, Agam Apaniyo, we understand all that. They arise from sense perception, Oshayan of Bharata. So he said sense perception. So this is senses, right? So what are our senses?
Five
Eyes,
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 ears,
ears, tongue,
nose,
hands,
tongue, skin.
Right. So these are our knowledge acquiring senses. And then there are some working senses. What working senses do we have?
hands, and
Hands, feet.
Is that all?
Tongue also does. Eyes also see things.
No, you can't say eyes on two. You already counted eyes one. Your tongue gets
No,
counted twice. The tongue does two things, right? It
tongue
hears,
does
it
too.
speaks. Yeah, it's also still. Yeah, what else? What else are the senses? We have hands and legs. We have tongue.
Hands,
You listed three.
legs, tongue.
Then the evacuation system and the genitals.
Yes, and the
Right?
genital.
Yeah. So one of them are called Gyan,
Gyanendri.
Gyanendriya, Karmendriya.
Karmendriya, right? So Garmendriya and Kandriya, working senses and the knowledge acquiring senses. So Indri is the word used for senses, right? Now go to the word by word and tell me, where is Indri? The word Indri. He says it's coming from sense perception.
Sense. Matra sparsha, sensory perception.
Yeah, where is the word Indri there?
But he has, Krishna is talking about the senses, a sense organ. So that means it's Indriya. Isn't that?
Yeah. What I'm just saying is that there is no word Indri there, right, in Sanskrit?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But in the translation we saw, Prabhupada has translated, and he's saying that it's coming from sensory perception, right? So matra. So let's look at the word matra, right? So we know matra from a ki matra, u ki matra, e ki matra, right? The vowels that you attach to the consonants, right? But matra, matra has also got another meaning, right? For example,
Less or sorry,
for
Mataji.
example, when the negotiations were going on between Krishna and the Kauravas, and Duryodhan said that I don't want to give the villages, right? Even I don't want to give in 5 villages. Sui ke nok ke matra bhi jameen nahi dunga, right? So matra is also measuring.
measurement.
The measurement. You know, chulli matra pani mein doob maro, right? You go and drown yourself in just little this much. So matra means measure, right? So our senses are always measuring. Like, what are they measuring? What do they measure? It's a
Tongue.
matra sparsha, right?
Yeah. So like tongue is measuring spicy, not spicy, or hot or cold.
Right. So spicy or not spicy? If it's too spicy, then what happens to you?
It burns.
Yes. And between happiness and distress, what happens to you?
Distress.
Well, you might be distressed, but somebody from South India, they might be very happy. So you see, our measure is different of our senses, right? The measure is different. And that is why Suyash Prabhu, you had pointed out, I think earlier that, or Khyati, one of you had pointed out, I'm forgetting, sorry, that what is happiness for one becomes a distress for another. Right?
Mataji, just like the food,
one type of food is a poison for another man.
Yeah. Alcohol, right? You give it to a drunkard, he's very happy. Try to put alcohol down your throat, you will resist it so badly.
The food allergy, maybe.
Food allergies, yeah, right? So these senses are actually always measuring. They're going out. These knowledge acquiring senses, they go out to sense. Am I going to get happiness from this? Am I going to get happiness from this? Am I going to get happiness from this? Right? And the thing is that why are these senses going out? Who is telling them to go out and look for this? Why is the tongue trying to find whether it is spicy or not? Who's telling that? Who's looking?
Mind.
Mind. The
Mind.
memory is stored there. So what we have experienced before, it will come back, replay.
Yes, exactly. So you see a butterscotch ice cream, you remember the thought. So when the tongue is going there, it is expecting that taste. But if somebody has put some salt in that ice cream, then there'll be distress immediately because you did not get that happiness. So remember, there was a hierarchy I told. Lowest is the dull matter. So believe it or not, ice cream is dull matter. It is dull matter. It's just your senses, they will attach some meaning to that dull matter. And when you taste it, okay, this is sweet. And then the mind has got an impression that I like it. And ultimately, it's the soul who's going to enjoy all that. But the senses are governed by the mind. The senses are telling the mind that the mind is telling the senses that you go and seek enjoyment. And our senses are doing that. In that process, we might suffer certain things. I might eat too much of ice cream and I might have immediate bad karma hitting me, right? With painful stomach in the night, like that, or a cold in the nose the next day. So you will get that. So, but we are always measuring. Like, remember one example that I gave a few weeks ago was that if you are in a shower, if you take a hot shower, very, very hot shower, steaming hot shower, and then you come out, even if it's a hot day, and I don't know why you would take a hot shower, but let's assume you take that, and you come out and touch anything, it'll appear cold, right? If you take a cold water shower and come back and touch the laptop here, it'll appear hot. So hot and cold, hot and cold. The senses are just telling you that, oh, this is hot. It's a hot day. Don't touch a hot thing. It won't give you goodness. Go touch a cool thing. You open the refrigerator and you put your face inside. I do that sometimes when the temperature reaches 98 and it's intolerable. The fridge is cold, like that. So the biggest sense is this is the skin that covers your whole body, from which you enjoy or suffer all along. So Martha's Prasad is what saying that, this is what it does. And Krishna, and we are so engrossed in this happiness, distress, they come and they go, but you're looking for happiness, that even when God says that, I'm opening the door, leave all this and come back, we don't want to go out. And Prabhupada, not Prabhupada, Vaisheshika Prabhu gives a very nice story that once he was in his home and a little bird came inside one of the rooms. And he tried to shoo it away. And the bird was so scared that, here's a big man coming after me and saying, shoo, shoo, shoo. And the bird flew from here, flew from there, and started going more inner and inner and inner into the more, in the rooms which are more deep into the house. And then he would open a window to let the bird go out, and the bird would not go out. Just would not go out. It thought that this is a nice place. It would just go in, hang in one corner of the room and think, this is good, I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling safe over here. Whereas the better safety is outside, that you fly out of that place which you think is your false safety, and you fly out of the window and get out of this material world. But we do not do that. We try to find we try to perch on this branch or perch on that branch like this bird and try to get some happiness here and there, which is just coming from sense perception. And because there is a mind behind these senses, the senses on their own never go out. Keep this in mind. Keep this in your mind, that it's your mind that actually tells your senses to go out. And then they go and capture it, right? Like if somebody was to show hot dogs to you, right? Hot dog is made of meat. You don't eat meat, so hot dog, you'll have a very different perception. You'll be distressed. You'll feel bad about the cow that was killed to make the burger, right? But somebody else who is enjoying meat, for him, it's a source of happiness. So, what is the difference? The matter is still the same, right? Above the matter is the eyes, right? The sense perception. Eyes of both you and the other person both have perceived the burger, but the sensation that is coming, the sensory perception is coming from the mind. For one, it is saying it is bad, and for the other, it is saying good. So always remember, mind is at the top in this hierarchy. And then, of course, above the mind is the intelligence, and above the intelligence is the soul. And above the soul is the super soul, God, Krishna himself, like that. So don't spend your time looking for happiness and distress, getting burnt here and there, and still not learning the lesson. Sutapa.
Yes, Mataji, means we are learning that, and we have heard so many times that just do your actions, don't expect anything, means don't expect the fruits, what you are doing.
Yes.
So from there, the expectation comes, Mataji, like the word expectation, that don't expect anything from others.
Yeah, that's a good expectation. It's a good expectation, right?
So Mataji, when we invest our, like Jaya Mataji told that we invest our time and emotions to work and to some other people too. But then there also we should not expect anything in return.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we come across this all the time because we learn fantastic things. Like you learned about the mind, right? Today.
Yeah.
It's over the senses. Now you want to go and explain that to somebody else who's suffering from just sensory perception, right? And is not thinking through that, this is your mind that is making you go through this turmoil, and you try to control your mind. They don't listen to you at all. They laugh at you, actually, to make it worse, right? They laugh or say nasty things to you, right? Write you a WhatsApp message, and that's it. Now we are upset with that, right? So why are we upset? Somebody wrote me a wrong email. Why am I upset? Because somewhere in my subtle mind, I'm expecting good behavior. If not good behavior, I'm expecting a neutral behavior, right? So that expectation is there. Even for a neutral behavior, that expectation is there. And as long as that expectation is not met, then there will be grief. What exactly is satisfaction? Satisfaction is the difference between your expectations and what you got. If you lower your expectation, then there is complete satisfaction. If you raise your expectations, then you have a problem.
Yeah, when
if you
you
lower
are
your
not
expectations, then you are ecstatic.
Mataji, say once again, satisfaction is the difference between
Expectations and what you have. Isn't it?
Thank you,
yes,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Yeah, isn't it? If you're expecting a salary of, $400,000, and if in a new job that you're applying for, and they pay you 300,000, immediate satisfaction. And that's why you'll notice that some of the companies that hire new people, they have this internal code that we're going to offer. They're going to make a very good offer of salary, and if the person comes back and starts to negotiate with you, like you offer them 500, and they say no, 750, and then there's a negotiation, and they settle for 650. They're saying, I don't want an employee who's dissatisfied on day one, because he wanted 750 and we are giving him 650, like that. So yes, satisfaction is the difference between what you expect and what you get. So be satisfied with what you have, because Krishna has given it to you, and be satisfied with whatever you're doing. If you do it for Krishna, then you will not think about the results, right? So Tapa, if you go and you're talking to somebody and you're saying Krishna, because everybody is supposed to be Krishna conscious, and you want everybody to go back to you. I'm just your instrument. I'm trying to do that. So when that happens, you don't care, right? For example, Prabhupada gives the example that if you're working in a bank as a bank teller, so much of money passes through your hands, right? Thousands of dollars pass your mind. You're giving it to people, Are you worried Like if on some day too many people come and they withdraw money from the bank, are you worried about that? No,
No.
right? Like that, because you have no expectations there from the act of giving money. Is some portion coming to your pocket or not? Like that. On the other hand, if you're a salesperson and you're standing on the floor and you are selling, you say washing machines, you are in Sears and you're selling washing machines, then you get a part of, from the sales, a part of the commission comes to you. Then there is expectation. So if there is a sale, you are happy. If there's no sale, you are unhappy. But even at that level, if you say that whether I will get a sale today or not, and philosophically you can reason that out, that whether I'm going to make a sale or today or not is actually, it will be a result of my karma, because whatever has been destined for me, tena tyaktena bhunjita, whatever has been set aside at my koda, I'm going to get only that. So there's a very famous saying, Varshana Mataji, hear that carefully. It says, Kismat se pehle और किस्मत से ज्यादा नहीं मिलता. Whatever you are destined to get, you will not get it before time, and you will not get more than what you're destined for. Right? Like that. So so our mood should be that. Our mood, and that is surrender to Krishna. Like that. And also, especially in preaching, when we have got such a good thing to share with people and they don't want to hear about it. Do you know that it is actually a test for ourselves? But how tolerant are you?
Yes, Mataji, here the comes again the blood of tolerance.
Yeah. So every time somebody neglects you, and you are tolerant about it, that's why Krishna is saying, and imagine how important that is. What is a name of Krishna that starts with H?
Rishikesh.
Okay, he's the controller of your senses. Allow him to control your senses. Okay, what's another name for Krishna that starts with H? It's not come up in the Bhagavad-gita. But Hari, exactly right, for 600 points, Sutapa. You're bright today morning. So Hari, what is the meaning of Hari?
One who takes away.
One who takes away, her means taking away.
Okay, yeah. Khyati, was this what you're saying? Trying to say?
Yes, Mataji.
Right. So Khyati was saying that Hari is one who har leta hai. Aapki problems ko har leta hai. So Krishna is one who can, even if you are in distress, he can sort it out for you. Right? That's why he's called Hari. But look at that. What is Krishna telling Arjuna? He's not saying that, Arjuna, just pray to me, do some Gayatris in the morning, do some Gayatris in the afternoon, do some Gayatris in the evening, and I will take care of all your problems because I'm Hari. That's not the advice he gave Arjuna. What did he say? Learn to tolerate them. Because when you learn to tolerate things, then your Chid Rakta is going to grow. Your spiritual blood is going to grow like that, right? So there is a very deep meaning in this particular verse. Actually, these three verses which are there, they're amazing verses because the shift is happening, right? The first thing was a nata tva eva ham jatu nasham. Neither you nor this king, nobody's going to die. He's given that one big wisdom. Don't stop, fighting about that. And then what was the verse that we did yesterday? Komaram manam jara tatha dehan paraprapit, right? So that was that the soul is just passing through the body. So don't. So it's a negative injunction. Don't, dhiras tatra na muhyati. Those who are knowledgeable don't get bewildered by that. And now today, what is he telling? Martha sparshastu konteya sitoshun dukha sukha dukkada agam apin anitestan titikshasva bharata. Learn how to tolerate. Just learn how to tolerate. And it's a big thing. When you learn how to tolerate, when you know how to tolerate, it makes you very, very strong. Very, very strong. Because now that thing cannot affect you. When we react to somebody's insults, we are empowering them to rule our lives. But if we just tolerate and don't take it beyond that, beyond toleration means that, something has already occurred in your mental system. And now you're trying to handle that. So somebody spoke badly to me and I'm angry and I'm trying to control the anger or So that is why thinking, feeling, willing, and acting, try to curb it in the earlier part of the cycle there, of the progress cycle there, right? And there's a very interesting story that I heard. It was mentioned in context of Buddha, that how these Buddhist monks go from one house to another and they beg for alms. So Buddha, with one of his disciples, they used to go from door to door, door to door. And then one person was, Buddha would go. Sometimes he would go, sometimes not. He had disciples; they would go and beg. So there was one particular house in a lane that his disciple used to go all the time. And that man was very obnoxious. He would come back and say bad things to him and, like that. And so Shisha was feeling very bad about it. And then he goes and tells Buddha that, he said, no, you should learn how to tolerate it. And then one day it so happened that Buddha and he were both going there. And the Shisha knocked at the door. And the man came out. And he saw these bhikkhus and he says, okay, so today you have brought one more with you. You have no shame. You don't work. You don't do any work at all. And you come here and you beg for me. What have you got? What have you got for me? Like that. So he said, okay. He said that I have collected an apple from my previous home where I had gone. So you can take this particular apple. And this man got so angry, he threw the apple back at him and he said, I'm going to curse you. And he said, even bad words. And as he was saying all these bad words, to Gautam Buddha, this man suffered a heart attack and he fell down. And then, of course, everybody came and, they, tried to resuscitate him. Buddha stood there and, blessed him. And then he came to his senses. The man came to his senses. And then all this happened. And then the Buddha walked away from there with his disciple. And the disciple said that, wow, that was amazing. But tell me, this man used to insult me every day, but he never fell down with a heart attack. And although I wished he was being so bad to me, I wished that he would fall down dead. I could never make it happen. How could you make it happen? He asked that. And then Gautam Buddha said, well, you know what? Here, let's do the experiment with one more thing. Right? So here, I have got some cards. And I say, Varshana Mataji, take this card. Can't you take it? She's there on the other side of the world, right? She cannot take it, right? Even if I was standing next to her, she has a choice of taking it or not taking it, right? When the man was cursing him and saying bad things, he said that I tried to give these cards to Varshana. She did not take them, so where are they? They are still in my hand. Similarly, the man was saying bad things to Buddha. Buddha did not take those bad things. Where did they remain? They remained with the old man and they affected him. When people are doing bad things to you, don't take it. Don't allow them to force you to take them. You have a choice. Right? If you don't take it in the first place itself, you're that strong, then it's only going to affect them.
Yeah, Shraddha Mataji, thank you for sharing that one. Very good story.
Yeah, something to live by.
Yeah, yeah. That also reflects one more thing, the tolerance, taking in a more on a positive note and not on the negative, which people suffer and suffer the harassment and the bad intolerance. So yeah, that's that.
There you go. Exactly. And you know what? I've been just not looking at Facebook, but I see that many devotees have joined us. We have Kamalpati Das Prabhu. We have course, we have Bhakta Rohit is here with us from India. Oh wow! And he was telling us Rishikesh, and another name for Krishna. Yes, he had some Rishikeshes there. Vijay Lakshmi Nair, Pashana Mataji, she's your friend and my friend too now. She's also with us, and Ananda Hare Krishna is also there. There you go. Abhishek Prasad Prabhu is here. Premlata Mundra is there. She's my god sister. Thank you for joining. And Bhagirathi Kamkhane Mataji is watching us as well. And we had some responses for voice as one of the indriyas. Yes, that is true. And Namazia Mataji likes our discussion on tolerance. Yes. So, there are muscles in our body and we go to gyms, etc. And and then in the gym we go and try to tone our muscles, right? This muscle, that muscle. You go to a beauty parlor, he'll do something to your muscles so you start looking better and younger, all that. But there is one muscle in your body which is the tolerance muscle. So, that's the muscle you need to really strengthen. So whenever people are trying to test your tolerance, just take it as an opportunity that I'm going to strengthen my muscle. And I tell you what, it's easier said than done. I have to put those up all the time. All the time. But all of us are sadhakas. All of us are practicing, and we can join hands together in helping each other, in okay. So I'm just being cognizant of the time here, and it shows that it is 9 minutes past 8 o'clock. So I think it's late in India for those who are watching us from India and those of us who are watching us on Zoom here and Facebook.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasikubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Gopremanande Hari
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Have a fantastic day. Hari
Thank you so much.
Krishna to everybody.